recognized symbol of excellence for your entertainment.
Welcome to Machino Music, the show that puts some music in Machino music, with your host, me, Brett Strong. Today on Machino Music, it's Kiss Makeup Era's album ranking. Shout it out loud. Good afternoon, everybody. Kiss Makeup Era's album ranking. That's what we're doing here today. Yeah, I had to take a little bit of a break. Finally getting around to doing this show. Yeah, to make a long story short, as the kids like to say, I got in a little bit of trouble here on this platform. Yeah, so I wasn't able to make videos regularly. So, yeah, I had to take a little bit of time away, which is actually kind of good for me. Gave a little bit of a break, kind of to rework a few things. Also, kind of, okay, like, again, I don't really get any specifics, but as far as the type of clips we show kind of going forward, might get a little less of that. But we're working it out. A stretch in the big house really mellows a guy out. So, just kind of take things a little slow, kind of getting back into the swing of things here. But that's what happened. Had to take a little bit of time away. But we're back now, and we're back with a big show, a Kiss Makeup Era's album ranking. We're calling it Makeup Eras because there are the different eras where Kiss had the makeup on. Of course, you had the original 70s albums, and you have the sort of like very early 80s, got some new members in there. Then there was a Psycho Circus era, which was the sort of like the farewell to the original band, and then we got some new members. They put the makeup back on, and that led us up to the final concert and those two albums from 2009 and 2012, the imposter era, you can call it. We also just recently lost Ace Frehley, so this is a nice tribute to Ace because he was so important to that sound, especially the early makeup era. There he is on this shirt. This lunch pail. This is where I store my Kiss 70s albums. Actually, it's in this this really cool Kiss lunchbox. So let's get into it here. Again, this is how I like these albums. You like them differently, that's perfectly okay. That's cool. Don't worry about it. This is how I like these albums. So let's get into it. Starting at the bottom and going Music from the Elder from 1981. Still don't have a physical copy of this album. Very hard to find a physical copy of this one, but it's at the bottom. But I know this album now has its fans. People love them some Music from the Elder, and going back and listening to these and listening to this one again, it's actually really good. But I will keep my stand on it that I said on my Kiss 80s album ranking is I still feel the same way about it. It's the soundtrack to a movie that was never made. So the storyline doesn't really make any sense. Now, I've heard people say, like, oh, well, that's the whole point. You can create your own story, choose your own adventure kind of thing. Yeah, okay. But, I think for me, like, as a filmmaker myself, like, I have to actually see it, and all the components have to kind of come together. So, and this is somebody else's film. This is somebody else's vision. Like I can't do that. So like it's just it's difficult for me to kind of like put together this movie. I'm trying to make that make sense. But yeah, it's not a bad album. There's some really good songs on it. I really like the Oath. That's got a really heavy tune. Also really like World Without Heroes, probably my favorite song on the album. Really cool Gene song, collaboration with Lou Reed. Really cool, dig that. And you know, there's the Ace tunes are good on here, but you know, it's also kind of the last album we got with Ace, at least like officially. And his contributions are really good, but it's kind of a hard album for me to really get into because of, like, you know. But I like it. But you have to rank them somehow, and it's always kind of at the bottom for me. So there you go, music from the Elder. Next, I'm going from 1980, Unmasked. Now this is kind of a mess of an album. I mean, really, we don't really know who exactly is playing on here. I mean, they have their contributions, but I mean, Peter Criss is pretty well completely gone at this point. It's Anton Fig playing drums on here from David Letterman's band, the Paul Schaefer World's Most Dangerous Band, or CBS Orchestra. So it's not really like, there's all kinds of studio people on here, but there are some great Ace contributions. Some of the best songs on here. Again, Ace stealing the show. We're kind of tributing Ace here. And I mean, Talk to Me is a really good tune. Torpedo Girl's really good. Those are the Ace tunes we got here that are great. She's So European, Gene song, pretty fun. I don't mind that tune. Shandy, I do like Shandy. Kind of like Disco Kiss. It's not like, you know, it's like top 40 radio sounding. Yeah, I like that song for what it is. I know it's kind of like a sucky song for most, but I like it. There's some not bad stuff on here. One of my favorite Kiss album covers, though, really cool, is Comic Book. And that's why I prefer to show the vinyl of this, because you really get to see that album cover. But yeah, good album. Just, you know, kind of up and down for me. Next I'm going from 1998, Psycho Circus. Now this is a tough one. This is like these ones are at the bottom for a reason. Not because they're like really bad. It's just they're kind of messy albums. And this one again, Psycho Circus. You got the whole band back together. The original guys all back in the makeup. This is a big deal. It was a big deal. We're announcing this new tour. We got a new record out. And still, we don't know who exactly played on this album. Lots of studio people. Ace and Peter. Depending on who and what you want to believe. Kind of up to their old tricks, not cooperating, you know. And yeah, but there's some good tunes on here. It's just, you know, and I agree with what Paul Stanley said about this record. Like, if this was the final Kiss album, he'd feel really bad about it. He left a bad taste in his mouth, and I totally get that, because you don't want to go out on this if the experience was not great and it was kind of a messy record. But still, some good tunes on here. Psycho Circus, the title track, is great. Love that song. Within, great heavy Gene tune, great riff on there. Kind of modern sounding, which is cool, but also like one of the heavier Kiss songs. People talk about like heavy metal Kiss songs. That one's usually in the conversation. Within, great. Pledge Allegiance, State of Rock and Roll, not bad. Into the Void. Ace, again, stealing the show. Fantastic tune. Ace got his moment. We Are One, not bad ballad. You Wanted the Best is the only song, at least from what it sounds, that all four members contributed to, of course, referring to their You Wanted the Best, You Got the Best. But all four members sing a verse on that song, so we know they're all contributing to that one. And that's about the only, sort of the last song we have with all four members all together as one. Could have been better. Could have been better. But I like showing this copy because I get to do this. Love that. Because you got that thing. Yeah. All right, next up from 2009. This was the kind of their big comeback album, Sonic Boom. This was the first album with the Imposters, Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer. Well, Eric Singer had been in the band before. Now he's wearing the Peter makeup, the Catman makeup. But, you know, this is one of those albums where it becomes like, I like to say, just shut up and enjoy the music. Because this is a good album. This is a really good album. This has got some good tunes on it. A great Kiss album. You know, like, it's like does it stand up to the classics? No. But for what it is, it's a really good album. Kicking off, Modern Day Delilah. Awesome opener. I think one of the best songs I've ever done. Fantastic tune. I love that riff. When I first heard that, it was amazing. I just was doing my radio show at the time. I couldn't wait to play that song. Fantastic tune. Yeah. I remember like Paul Stanley say that the opening song on a Kiss album should be like a rallying cry. That's exactly what Modern Day Delilah is. It gets you right into the record. Russian Roulette's not bad. Danger Us is a cool tune. I'm an Animal. Say Yeah, which they were doing in their final concert's really cool. So that's a good song to kind of bring back. If anything from this era, I think that's a good one to do. But yeah, Sonic Boom, not bad. It's a good record for what it is. This copy also has this. They redid the classics. This bonus Kiss Classics CD. I never go back to that. Where is it here? Yeah, here it is. Yeah. There. Yeah. It's not very good. Let's go back and listen to the originals. I didn't really need to include that. But, yeah. Sonic Boom, that's where I'm ranking that one. Next, from 2012. This was the final Kiss album. And, you know, I dig it. I mean, I guess this is kind of flip-flop with Sonic Boom, although I think there's stuff I kind of like on here a little bit more than Sonic Boom. Hell or Hallelujah, great opening track. Wall of Sound is cool. Freak is a cool tune. Back to the Stone Age, kind of just a dumb Gene song, but he wants to go back to being a caveman. Yeah, of course you do, Gene. Clubbing women over the head and having your way with them. That's what you want to do. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Gene Simmons, Back to the Stone Age. Shout Mercy's cool. Eat Your Heart Out. The Devil Is Me, awesome tune. I always thought, at least for the final concert, they should have done like the Gene medley. Like have them do God of Thunder, War Machine, and add The Devil Is Me in there. That was a big spit I just did right there. Love The Devil Is Me. Such a cool Gene tune. That would have been such a great medley, but just keep it as is. I understand it. But yeah, Last Chance. Closing Out, not a bad tune. I mean, if we're we could have got a better album, but you know, it was a pretty good one to go out on. It rocks. It's a good record. All right. Next, I'm going from 1979, Dynasty, the controversial disco album. Although there's really, and I've said this before when I've talked about this album, there's really only two actual disco songs on here. I Was Made for Loving You and Dirty Livin'. And maybe Sure Knows Something kind of has a bit of a disco groove to it, but I Was Made for Loving You and Dirty Livin', those are the most kind of really sort of disco sounding, and Dirty Livin', you know, the only real Peter contribution to this album. But again, Ace stealing the show with this one. And I think this is what puts this one up. 2000 Man is a fantastic song. Rolling Stones cover of the song from Their Majesty's Satanic Request. Great Stones song. And Ace just makes it into this Joe rockin' tune. It's a perfect song for Ace to do. It's just great. Of course, Sure Know Something. Charisma is good. Good tune. Or as the kids would say now, Riz. No. It's just charisma. It's a great word. Don't mess around with language. Especially when it's not necessary. She got the Riz. Stupid. Magic Touch. Hard Times, another great Ace tune. Stealing the show again on that one. Yeah, it's a good album. I like Dynasty. Alright, this was a last minute swap out. But I'm going Love Gun. You'll see what I put ahead of it. But yeah, Love Gun. The thing with this is a fantastic album. This is like peak Kiss. This is 1977. This is like everybody knows who Kiss is. This was like them at the height of their powers. This album cover kind of says it all. Some great tunes on here. Oh, the thing with I would say like just take off Plaster Caster and Then She Kissed Me, and I think you've got almost a perfect album. Just those last two tracks I was never really a big fan of. I like the bass on Plaster Caster, but the rest of the song's stupid. About a woman who makes... a real woman who made plaster molds of rock stars' penises. Of course Gene Simmons wrote a song about that. Frank Zappa did as well. It's a very famous woman. But yeah, nothing new for Gene Simmons. So it's just a dumb song. Then She Kissed Me, the Crystals cover, terrible, really bad. They didn't really need to do it. But other than that, like, especially like Almost Human, one of the great werewolf transformation songs. So awesome, love that song. I Stole Your Love, kicking it off. Shock Me, the first song Ace sung on. The first time we got Ace Frehley vocals. And it's a great song. And the defining Ace Frehley song. Yeah, so good. Got a great solo on there. Of course, the title track is great. Christine 16. Song we don't really talk about anymore. We get Gene Simmons in a lot of trouble now. But it's a fun tune for what it is. And don't go around singing that song now. Yeah. So, Love Gun. But this is what I swapped it out for, because I just like... Creatures of the Night, 1982. Now, when I did my 80s Kiss album ranking, actually, I would say that this is my favorite Kiss album. So, not like I did my 80s Kiss album, this was my 80s Kiss album ranking. This was my number one. And could be my favorite of the makeup era, but I didn't want to repeat myself, but also it's competing against all these other great records now, so I kind of didn't want to, so I'll put it in the middle, but I really rethought about it. I'll put it ahead of Love Gun because I love this album. This is Eric Carr, who I would say is my favorite rock drummer. This is Eric Carr announcing his arrival. I am the new drummer for Kiss. Yes, he was on Music from the Elder, but this is the album where I think he truly makes his presence known. When the title track kicks in, the drums on that, it's like, whoa, it's so big, so heavy, so bombastic. It's just, wow, it's so exciting, this new era of Kiss. The Fox, Eric Singer. Also, they're promoting Ace still in the band, even though it's Vinnie Vincent, although there's other guitar players on here, so it's, kind of a bit of a mess, but, at least we got a consistent member kind of going forward, and we had a consistent band well into the 80s. The Kulick years. But there's so many great tunes on here. Keep Me Coming, I was really like. I Love It Loud, classic. War Machine, awesome. Yeah. Creature of the Night. I could have made it my number one because it is my favorite Kiss album, but I just thought, okay, put it in the middle. And I think I figured it out. I think I feel good about that. All right, now here we go into the real classic albums. So from 1974, I'm going the debut, the self-titled debut. Great album. One of the great debuts. This is the shirt that I'm wearing. See, it comes out of the shirt. But yeah. Strutter kicking it off. Great tune. Nothing to Lose, which is about Gene Simmons and his sexual escapades. I'm sure you know. It's about going around the back door. He let us know this is the kind of songwriter I'm gonna be, even though he was trying to sound like trying to do Beatles lyrics. Like Deuce is a total like him trying to do it sound like the Beatles. At least his idea of it. He was also writing songs about his favorite pastime. But yeah, cool tune nonetheless. Firehouse, Cold Gin, Ace tune, great. Let Me Know, of course, Deuce is classic. Black Diamond closing it out, fantastic song. Peter doing the vocals on that. Now that's kind of like that's Peter's greatest contribution to the band, I think. I mean, not a spectacular drummer, kind of mediocre, but his voice. Got that great raspy R&B voice, so good, perfect for that type of song. Yeah, that's just one of the classic Kiss tunes, Black Diamond. The only one that kind of brings this album down, I think, is Kissin' Time. It's just so stupid. The last minute, just threw it on because it was like the record label saying, well, you're called Kiss, so you should have a song about kissing. No, they don't need that. They're already a gimmick. You don't need to put a gimmick on put a hat on a hat. Well, who the hell are you? Yeah, so Kissin' Time just kind of brings it down. It's a cover of Bobby Rydell tune. I never liked that song. It's like right in the middle of the album, so it's not like you can skip over or anything really. It's like you just put it on. You just want the album to play. It just kind of ruins the flow of the album. But you know, I mean, that song without that song, this would be like a perfect album. But it's great debut. So I'm putting that one. All right, next, going from 1975, Dress to Kill. Classic. Some great songs on here. Of course, Rock and Roll All Night was the song, although it wasn't a hit initially. Didn't become a hit till they released a live version on the Alive album. And that version is like the definitive version of the song. The studio version's okay. It's just kind of like you hear it's kind of compared to the live version, it's like totally different tune, totally different vibe. It's just the kick in the pants the group really needed, because this should have been their big breakout, and it just like these early Kiss albums just didn't really make the impact that they were hoping. It wasn't until those Alive, the first Alive record, that they're like, okay, this is the band. We get it now. But some great tunes on here. Two-Timer, I love. Probably my favorite song on the album. Love that riff. She's so good, so heavy. Love that riff. Come On and Love Me is fun. Rock Bottom. Again, we're talking about Ace. Fantastic. That guitar opening. How many bands, how many heavy metal bands were influenced by that? I mean, these Kiss albums, these early Kiss albums were so influential on what would become heavy metal. Wow. It's just a really cool tune. Starting slow, getting heavy in the middle, but that intro, great Ace guitar playing there. And I always liked this album cover. I have a big poster of this. Oh, them all in the suits. All right, next from 1976, I'm going Destroyer. This is the classic. This album cover. This is like, okay, these guys are superheroes. This is Kiss really starting to become the band as we knew them. Detroit Rock City kicking it off. So great. Love Detroit Rock City. God of Thunder, of course, one of my favorite Kiss tunes. Paul Stanley written song, what became the signature Gene Simmons song. Well, I can write a Gene Simmons song. Yeah, well, I can write a Paul Stanley song. And then Paul Stanley succeeded in writing a Gene Simmons song. We'll just give that to Gene. It's perfect for him. There you go. Love God of Thunder. Fantastic. Sweet Pain, Shout It Out Loud, a classic. We just had here in Toronto, we just had the Blue Jays in the World Series. Yeah, I'm still reeling from that loss. but during a lot of the games, that was kind of like the song. They were playing Shout It Out Loud, at least on the broadcast here in Toronto. It was just getting to hear Shout It. It's such a perfect song. Yeah, Shout It Out Loud. So I've been thinking about that song and hearing it a lot lately. Yeah, it's just remember how much I love that tune. Such a fun song. It's also going to be the name, apparently, of the upcoming Kiss biopic. Whenever that comes around. Sounds like it's in production. Going to be called Shout It Out Loud. Beth was the big hit off of here. I'm kind of tired of Beth. I mean, I like it. It's a pretty song. Peter. Good vocal from Peter. I just heard it on the radio. It's like the only Kiss song you're ever going to hear on the radio. And it's just like, okay. Kind of getting tired of hearing it. Like, if you're going to play Kiss on like most radio stations, they're going to play Beth, of course. Rock and Roll All Night or Beth. There's a few stupid songs on here, like Great Expectations. Really dumb song, although I do think it's hilarious that Gene Simmons is singing about wanting to have sex with a woman in the audience, and he gets a children's choir. That is really funny. That's a good one, Gene Simmons. That's really, really funny. Sweet Pain, Do You Love Me, Flamin' Youth, not bad. But the songs that are great on here are what make this album and puts that one up. I mean, it's just such a classic. I mean, it has to be somewhere at the top. All right, we're in the top two, everybody. And this was a little difficult, but I decided for number two, 1974, Hotter Than Hell. Now, before, this was my number one. This was my number one on the Kiss 70s album ranking. And I would say this was my favorite album of the 70s. So, I don't know what my number one's going to be, but we'll get to it. But this is just a great early heavy metal album. This is just Kiss still trying to figure it out. Still trying to figure out what the band they want to be, but they put out this heavy album. This is like an early heavy metal classic. I mean, it sounds kind of tame compared to what else was going on then, like Black Sabbath and groups like that. But still, for an early 70s album, this is pretty heavy. Parasite, I mean, that's an early thrash metal influence. I mean, how many thrash bands were influenced by that song? They had to be. I mean, that's Anthrax covered it. Come on. Hotter Than Hell, a title track, love that. Let Me Go Rock and Roll, great. Watching You, got such a heavy riff, so good. Strange Ways, closing it out, heavy tune. Mainline, yeah, there's just some great tunes on here. I just love this album. Got to Choose is a great opener, good kind of heavy tune. I'll listen to this again because that's actually very groovy. There's kind of a cool groove to this album. Like, it's heavy, but it's still got this really cool groove to it. So they're trying different things, but they're really starting to become Kiss. Then this, I think, was like their album. Like, okay, we're trying to figure out this is who we're gonna be. And it's just a great heavy. I love this album cover. But my number one, going back and listening to all these again, had to go Rock and Roll Over. I think that's kind of everybody's favorite when you hear like people talking about like the 70s Kiss, the makeup era. This kind of comes in as usually like everybody's, kind of everybody's favorite. I got to agree, because this one is just, it's just got so many great songs. And it was like the follow-up right after Destroyer. How do you follow up Destroyer? Well, you put out this album, which has some, I think overall, some way better tunes. Kicking it off, you got I Want You. Starts off slow. What, they're starting this thing off with a ballad. Then it gets really heavy. Great. Love that. Take Me, calling Dr. Love. Great Gene song inspired by the Three Stooges. Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard. That's apparently where it came from. Classic Three Stooges. Dizzy Doctors, I believe. Ladies Room, Baby Driver. Baby Driver's so good. Love 'Em and Leave 'Em. Mr. Speed. Mr. Speed is great. That was another one they were playing during Blue Jays broadcast. They're playing a lot of Kiss tunes during the Blue Jays broadcast here in Toronto. I don't know if it was anywhere else. You were getting the same feed in the U.S., but we were getting all these Kiss tunes every time we're going in and out of commercial. It was so cool. We got to hear Mr. Speed get a deep cut. Really cool. Whoever was putting the music on it, you give that guy a promotion. Who's that guy? Who's their music director? Great. Love it. Hard Luck Woman. Good Peter tune. Kind of like a good song for his voice, and it's a very different tune. It's kind of like, wow, hey. And Making Love, closing it out. Great heavy riff on that one. So yeah, and this album cover is so fantastic too, just so classic. Yeah, this is the band right here, the classic album cover. So there you go. That's how I rank the makeup eras of Kiss. I mean, some of these can kind of move around. But yeah, so I think I did. I think I'm happy with that ranking. And so I like these albums. You like them differently. Perfect. Okay, that's cool. Don't worry about it. So yeah, Kiss, the makeup eras. There's a few other Kiss shows I think we can do here. I have ideas. People seem to like the Kiss shows. So I'm going to do some more Kiss shows here. So I'm a big Kiss fan. I was excited to do this ranking again. And if you're a Kiss fan, I hope you enjoyed this. That's it for this week. Until we meet again, this is Brett Strong saying good journey.